Tori, thanks for joining me. You were one of our biggest movers in week 3 up the leaderboard, and a lot of that came to, one, picking up those win points with Team Jakewish and also being so consistent at the plate. So I pulled your at-bats from Game 17. Team Jakewish versus Team Chittister. You were 3 for 4 with an RBI double. So I wanted to dig into how you hit that game, a little bit of your approach, and what you see when you look back on those at-bats.
Yeah, I'm excited. That was a good game, and I think the biggest thing was win points, but for me, just being consistent and knowing that whoever picks me the next week, I'm going to be a consistent hitter for them in the lineup.
Totally. So this first at-bat that you had, you were facing off with Alyssa Denham, so you had a righty matchup in this one. Take me through kind of the count, what you saw.
Yeah, so first pitch, off-speed backdoor curve on the inside half. Obviously, you don't, as a power hitter, you don't want to hit anything slow unless you're sitting on it, so she goes first, slow pitch on the inside, get a strike, but no big deal. Ideally, I would like to hit something hard the next pitch, and it was smart. I should have swung at this pitch. The outside looks like a drop ball on the outer corner, and I should have swung 0-1. It was a great pitch. And it's funny because you kind of see me hit my shoe there thinking like, I should have hit that one. So 0-2, usually my mentality 0-2 is just anything over the plate, just time it up and get a good barrel on it. So 0-2, I had a runner at second, so I was really trying to shoot anything to the right side, so I got a little off speed down in the zone. Not a strike, but not a bad pitch to hit. And thankfully, it took Stelly away from the ball, and so KJ was able to slide into third. So, I mean, ideally, you'd like to land that somewhere and score her, but the main goal being getting her to third base and 60 feet closer to home. So
even in a bat like that where you may fly out, you're still seeing production and being able to build off of that bat, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, this is a sport where you're destined to fail 7 out of 10 times. So to be able to do something productive like move a runner, I mean, the ultimate goal is to win. So if you're scoring runs, you're going to win, and the closer she gets to home, the better opportunity we have to win.
So coming into your second at-bat, it's the bottom of the fourth, 1 out, you've got a runner on. Kind of building off of what happened in your first AB, what are you looking for here? What was your approach kind of coming around this second time in the lineup?
Well, I know that Denham likes to get ahead, so she's going to try to go at the zone. And she has a mix of speeds, right? She can go hard drop. She can go off-speed curve. I got the off-speed curve the first time last time on the inner half, so I'm thinking she's either going to try to go away hard or come in slow, and she actually did go back to that off-speed curve this time on the outer half. It looked really good coming in, and the hard thing is these pitchers have so much spin that the ball looks hard because it's coming at you so fast, but it's just spinning and it's not actually coming as hard. So that threw off my timing a little bit on the first one. If that was a hard pitch, that would definitely be something that I would want to swing at. But I foul that ball off. She goes back to it again, and I was able to lay off of it.
Yeah.
And then goes a little bit faster than the off speed, but slower than the hard stuff, down and in, not for a strike, out of the hand. And then I was actually really proud of this one. So the outside drop that we talked about in the first AB that I took for a strike, she goes back to that pitch, and I knew that I was hunting that pitch.
Yeah, you weren't going to let it pass you by this time.
Exactly. I let it go the first time, and I can't do it again. So I actually was able to time that one up and shoot it into right field, which is something that I've been working on, letting that outside pitch get deep and going with it instead of trying to hook around it and get in front of it. So I'm actually really pleased with this at-bat. I think this was my favorite hit of the year so far, just because it's something that I've been working on.
Yeah.
And it's oppo, which is always a good thing. I'm like rewinding it. So right on the corner, and you see the shoulder angle and the barrel matching. You see that they're on the same plane. So shoulders, barrel, same plane.
Straight line down.
Yes, and so that means that I'm on the ball and my barrel's in the right spot. I'm not dropping. I'm not over the top. So that's a great hit for me. I'm really proud of that one.
That's so neat that you say, like, even as, you know, you've had years playing as a pro, there's still things that you're working on. There's still little moments of success. That's so neat to hear how, like, your game never stops evolving.
Especially with hitting, and I think every position is the same, but hitting is just something that is so easy but so hard because we get into our own minds and we start creating bad habits when we get tired, and there's so many little things that can go wrong that can mess up your entire swing, and it could only be one of those things, right? You drop your hands and you're going to miss underneath the ball. So constantly learning, and not only learning, but doing it in the cages is a completely different feeling than doing it on the field when you're in that pressure moment, when your brain kind of shuts off and you go into that muscle memory. So it's nice to see that it pays off whenever you've been working on something and you see it come to fruition on the field.
How does that speak to maybe balancing having quantity during your practice at AU versus quality? You know, especially because this is a fast season. We know it wears on your body. We know it's tough mentally. So how important is it that when you go to practice, you get what you need out of it in those moments?
Oh, man. I love that you asked this because I've always been a quality over quantity person. I don't necessarily think that more reps equals more success. And for me personally, like, I put so much into my swings that I get tired really quickly. So if I'm getting tired, there's no point of me continuing to swing, because that's when those bad habits start to come into light, and maybe you start to mess up your swing, or maybe you start to lose the feeling because you've done it so many times. So personally, I like to take maybe 1-2 good rounds, and if I feel good, I'm ready to go. Like, my body knows what to do, and I don't have to think about it too hard. When you start to do too much, that's when you start to think about it, thinking, did this feel like this in the beginning of the round, or is something different, or are my legs not exploding as much as they should? So I've always been a quality over quantity person, 100%. My dad will back me up on that too.
This next at bat, you're typically known as a batter that hits for power. And in this one, it was an infield single that got you on base. It was the off-speed pitch that you ended up getting a hold of too.
What can I say? When you have so much speed, it's hard to get you out, you know? So first pitch, curveball out of the zone, out of the hand, not going to be a strike. Able to lay off that, goes out. Expecting her to come slow back in, but it was hard back in, so that was I just wasn't able to get to it. So I actually got jammed up a little bit, but was able to kind of muscle it through that 5-6 hole. And normally, especially here, the third baseman normally plays a little bit more back. So anytime you get something like that off the handle and they're so far back, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I have a chance to run this out. And especially with runners on, I mean, the defense, I didn't really have to do anything except run to first base. It just kind of worked out. Normally, if there was nobody on, nobody out type thing, I probably would have been out at first, but situational hitting, I mean, sometimes you just put it where they aren't.
Totally. Even on an at-bat like this where you get jams, like what do you see in your swing and what do you see in your approach that in a way worked, but is more so like, okay, that's not the results I specifically want, but I can take something from this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just looking at the swing breakdown. So, like, if I was just a little bit earlier, I would have been right on that ball, and who knows, it could have gone over the left field fence. So knowing that sometimes it's not your swing, it's just your timing, or sometimes it's not your swing, it's your eye, right? You're swinging at pitches that are out of the zone. So for me, I look at the pitch, is it in the zone? Was my swing, did it look okay, like if I would have been a little bit earlier? And then to me, like on that, I would have been on time for an outside pitch. So I just need to know going into my next at bat on the inside, I need to be a little bit quicker on the hard stuff in, and then I can handle the hard stuff out.
Totally. So this last at bat in the game, they've made a pitching change. You're actually the first batter in the lineup to see Groenewagen. They've made that change right before, and you were able to hop on the first pitch of a new pitcher being entered into the game.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I was notorious for swinging at the first pitch until Eric.
Watching these back?
Yeah, watching them back, I hear the commentators saying, you know, like, Vidales really likes to swing at that first pitch, and I'm like, I do? But luckily for me, you know, I faced Sarah throughout international ball as well. She played for Canada, I played for Mexico, so we see them a lot. Has one of the dirtiest changeups I've ever seen in my life. But for her, she always starts me with a curve or a change. So I knew that it was either going to be hard or soft. And since I've been working on my swing so much, I've been trying to really stay on it. And for me, that comes from my wrap at the beginning of my swing, which is so unconventional, but it works for me. And it helps me stay on the pitch and find my timing a little bit more so I can stay through the zone longer. So with the changeup, I saw that it was going to drop in to be a strike. And I think that's where it helps me too, facing her so often, is that I know out of her hand, if it's up, it's most likely a changeup and it's going to drop back in. So you kind of just have to get a little bit of a, we'll see if I had a little hitch in my swing here. So you see the load. It works out. Sometimes you guess and you guess right, and sometimes you guess and you guess wrong, or you guess and you don't swing at all. So it happens. Sometimes it just works in your favor.
You know, to close out a weekend on a day like this where you go 3 for 4, you contribute to your team with an RBI, do you build off of these at-bats, or do you kind of start fresh coming into the next week?
I think it depends because, I mean, there's 4 pitchers per team, so it really depends on what's our situation in game. Are they starting? Are they coming in to close? A lot of different aspects that changes the way that they're going to pitch to you, right? Or who's behind you, who's in front of you, which changes from week to week. So for me, I like to go into it fresh unless it's someone that I face so often, like an Alyssa Denham, which she's on my team this week, thankfully. So I don't even have to think about her this week. So it just changes from week to week and who you're facing. There's some pitchers that I haven't been on a team with yet, so I've had to face them every week. And there's some that I've gotten to be with every week, so I haven't gotten to face it all. So a little bit of here, a little bit of there, just depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah. For any baseball or softball players that watch this and see your swings and hear about your breakdowns, like, what is something that no matter what level they can kind of take from this? If there was like one piece of hitting advice from Tori Vidales, so what would it be?
Ooh. Don't always trust the result that you're getting, right? Because a lot of times, especially with our game, you could hit a ball so hard and it's right at someone and you go into the dugout and you feel bad about yourself, but you just barreled up a ball, and even though they caught it, like, that's a win. That is a solid ball, which is hard to do in this game. And sometimes you get a hit and it was a terrible swing on a terrible pitch and it drops in for a single, right? But in the book it looks like a line drive. So you have to know what you're doing and if you're sticking to your plan. So my biggest piece of advice would just be to go into your at-bat with an approach so that you know whether you're sticking to that plan or you're kind of veering away from it and not following through with what you said you were going to do. So going back to look at film is a huge, huge benefit to your game. It shows you where the location of the pitches are at, what your swing looks like, what your body language is saying. Do you look confident in the box? Do you look scared? But just awareness, body awareness, everything, just self-awareness of what you look like, what you're doing in the box, and the results will surely come after that.
Awesome. Thanks, Tori. Thanks for taking us into the game.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.